The teacher asks a question I know the answer to. But when she calls my name, my mind goes completely blank. The silence stretches. I can hear the clock ticking. She says, "Maya, what's the capital of Canada?" And I open my mouth, but nothing comes out. It's like my brain just shut down. I want to disappear. That's the moment everything changes. Either I say something that makes it worse, or I find a way to buy time. At that point, the only thing I could think of was I forgot. Never mind. But later I learned a better move. Just say, "Just a second, let me think." It sounds simple, but it actually shifts the power. You're not giving up, you're asking for a moment. Okay, let's move on. The pressure is too much. Maya chooses the easy exit. The useful wording here is, "Just a second, let me think." Maya is still blank. Classmates notice. She feels immense pressure. That changes the pressure. Maya gives up with a weak excuse. In plain English, the exchange is this: Maya says the wrong phrase and sits down. The useful skill in this chapter is see the cost of surrendering. The risky line is still, I forgot. Never mind. The line worth saving for the next try is, "Just a second, let me think." It works better because it signals giving up and increases embarrassment. It also shuts down the chance to recover. When the room hears, I forgot. Never mind.
I walked over and said, "Hey, I saw what happened. Been there too." She looked relieved. I told her, the secret is not to say you forgot. Instead, try this, just say, "Just a second, let me think." It buys you a moment without closing the door. She was skeptical, but I explained why it works. The teacher sees you're still trying, so they'll wait. And in that little pause, you can actually gather your thoughts. It's not about giving up, it's about giving yourself permission to think out loud. So if you ever freeze, remember that simple line. It's a game changer. Class continues, but Maya is upset. She feels she failed. After class, Leo notices Maya is down.
The next day, the teacher asks a new question. Maya sees her chance. Maya taps her pen on the desk as the teacher asks the question, then stops tapping as she speaks. Maya agrees to try it in the next class. That changes the pressure. Maya raises hand, is called on, and uses the phrase, "Teacher waits." In plain English, the exchange is this: teacher asks a question, Maya raises hand and uses the phrase. One detail to notice while saying it is stress and intonation in the professional phrase, "I'm working through my answer." Could I have a few more seconds? Rising pitch on more seconds. It works better because it replaces the mistake with an honest request for time, reducing panic. I need more time. Weakly. It fits because the teacher's question forced her to respond. Maya sets the pen down on the desk and slumps in her chair. The next sentence needs to do one job clearly. Maya's mind remains blank, awkward silence grows, she feels desperate. That changes the pressure. Maya says, "I need more time" weakly. Teacher moves on. Maya is frustrated. When the room hears, "Maya, do you know the answer or not?" That is the moment the tone either tightens or softens. I am listening for whether the sentence repairs the relationship or keeps resisting the correction. The next line, "Okay, let's move on," turns to another student, tells me whether the repair is finally landing.
Exactly. It puts you in charge of the pause. It fits because Leo explains that taking control of the pause is even more powerful. Maya holds the pen still as she listens carefully. A usable version is, "I'm working through my answer. Could I have a few more seconds?" Maya learns the polite phrase and agrees to practice. That changes the pressure. Maya learns the professional phrase and understands it gives her control. My first reply, "I'm working through my answer." That promises I'm actively thinking, sounds shorter and colder than I expected. In plain English, the exchange is this: Leo introduces the professional phrase with intonation. The risky line is still, "I need a moment." Still sounds passive.
I thought I was ready. The next day, the teacher asked a new question, Maya, what is the effect of deforestation on climate? I raised my hand, feeling my heart pound. My mind? Blank. I could feel the eyes of the class on me. The more I tried to remember, the more I panicked. The polite phrase just wasn't enough. It asked for time, but I still felt out of control. Maya raises her hand, and the teacher calls on her. Maya practices with Leo and improves her delivery. She feels more confident. When the room hears, Maya, what is the effect of deforestation on climate? And the answer comes back as, I need a moment to gather my thoughts.
She said the polite phrase only made the teacher wait, but she still froze. One that puts you in charge. I said, I'm working through my answer. Could I have a few more seconds? That phrase does two things. It tells the teacher you're actively thinking, and it asks for a specific amount of time. You're not just pausing, you're showing you're in the middle of processing. Maya looked skeptical, so I explained, the word working signals effort. The question, could I have a few more seconds, is polite but firm. It gives you control. She repeated it slowly, and I could see the idea starting to sink in. I added, the polite phrase is like knocking on a door. This one opens it. She nodded and said, let me try. So we started practicing. I said, try it again, but stress the word working. Say, I'm working through my answer. She repeated, I'm working through my answer. Could I have a few more seconds? I said, good, but now use a rising tone on more seconds. It makes it a request, not a demand. And look up when you say it. Eye contact shows confidence. She tried again, and this time her voice was steadier. I could see her shoulders relax. She smiled and said, this feels different. I reminded her, the goal is not to avoid the pause, the goal is to own it. Now you're ready. The phrase has a natural rhythm, work ing through my answer, then a quick pause, then could I have a few more seconds? It's like a musical beat.
I know this. I'll use the phrase. I would repair the conversation with, I'm working through my answer. Could I have a few more seconds? It addresses the problem because after Leo's insight, Maya enters class determined to try the professional phrase. Maya picks up her pen and holds it still for a moment, then taps it once lightly on the desk as she considers. Maya raises her hand when the teacher asks a question, ready to use the phrase. Keep the idea, but change the words for your real situation. Maya sees her chance. By the time we reach, Maya, your hand is up. Go ahead, I can hear whether I am still defending myself or actually fixing the moment. Then, just like that, the answer comes to me. I say, the past tense of go is went. The teacher beams and says, excellent. That's correct. I feel a wave of relief. I glance at my pen, it's not moving, just lying still. I say, thanks. And I realize, this time I didn't panic. I used the phrase. I'm working through my answer, made the teacher know I was thinking. The whole class nodded. It worked. My friend Leo catches my eye and gives a thumbs up. I smile. The pen in my hand is still. I used to tap it nervously, but now I know I can control the pause. The professional phrase is my new tool. Teacher praises Maya, classmates nod, Maya feels proud, pen no longer taps.
So here's what you can do. Next time your mind goes blank, don't say I forgot. Instead, try one of these phrases. Could I have a few more seconds? Practice it at home. Hold a pen, look up, and say it slowly. Don't rush. The pause is part of the skill. And remember, buying time is not a failure, it's a strategy. Try it in your next class and see the difference. Maya practices the phrase again, focusing on tone and intonation. My first reply, I'm working through my answer. Could I have a few more seconds, sounds shorter and colder than I expected. By the time we reach, better. Now hold the pen when you say it, it helps you feel confident. I can hear whether I am still defending myself or actually fixing the moment.